or that you didn't like me anymore, and it really upset me, and I guess then I just figured you probably moved on and found somebody better, and
What?
then
Delphine, seriously? Oh, shit, now I feel awful.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad, because yeah,
It's all right. It was my fault. You didn't say anything. I was just. It was hard. The whole thing. I messed up.
it's okay, I messed up too.
I mean, it's all right now, right? the um the sword, the one that you had Piper make. It was really helpful. It's really nice. Um, I already said that in the letter, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm glad it works. I don't. If you're not mad at me already, you might be mad at me for something I did. Multiple some things I did.
What do you mean?
Well, two things. Do you want the I don't even know where to begin. Um
Just just tell me.
okay, well, I guess the first thing is the person who delivered the final blow to Edward was me. And also I kissed somebody. So two things that you might be really mad at me for.
He he blinks for a second, processing those two diametrically opposed things for a
Very,
moment.
very.
And after a moment, oh,
Like I said, I assumed I had done something to drive you away. A lot of people in my life leave. I figured that something bad had happened or that you just didn't want to talk to me anymore. And now I screwed it all up, and I'm probably losing my best friend, and no holding back, all the tears right here, right now. Yep, here we go.
I don't know what to even say, Delphine.
I understand if you don't want to talk to me or if you hate me or I just, I want people to be honest with me, and so I wanted to be honest with you.
Thanks, I guess. Sorry I wasted your time, I guess.
What do you
See ya.
mean wasted my time?
Isn't that obvious? Clearly I wasn't good enough. So, I'm sorry I wasted your time.
Like
He
I said,
As if he's walking away, as he's walking away, she's just gonna kind of half crying whisper, like, I never said you weren't good enough.
he at that point just kind of looks down, and he didn't have to. And he turns and storms away.
There we go, lost best friend.
And as he reaches the exit, Tommy rounds the corner,
Oh
and
God.
the two of them bump into each other. And Thomas, and he kind of like bounces off the wall. He's like, "Oh, sorry," and not stopping, not slowing down. Excuse me, are you William Shieldheart? Thomas says. And he stops. What of it? Wow. I heard about what you did during the fight. That's amazing. And William looks back and stares holes through the boy for a second. Thanks. Sorry I didn't want to slow you down. Well, you already did. And William turns and storms back off. And Thomas kind of scratches the back of his head and kind of wanders into the stables, and gosh, I wonder what happened to him. Delphine? What's wrong?
I happened to him. That's what's wrong.
And he looks back, like at the door, and then back to you. What?
And off camera, Delphine would explain the complicated past and history.
Oh, shoot. I had no idea. I'm so sorry.
Why would you? Like I said, I thought he didn't want to talk to me anymore. And now I screwed it all up. It, it's not your fault. It's all mine. It's okay.
Delphine,
It's gonna be okay.
you didn't talk to me just because because you missed him, did you?
No. I talked to you because you were a friend. We were together on a mission and we started talking and somebody else said you had a crush and I wanted to know.
Delphine, you, you're amazing. You matter so much. And but I don't want to, I don't want to make you hurt just because
I could have easily just kept that a secret. But secrets have gotten people into some really, really terrible situations and circumstances in my lifetime. I don't like them. I didn't even I didn't even tell William that I knew about where his brother. Well, I kind of knew where his brother was. I knew when he left and I knew that he was safe. Which is another reason for him to hate me.
well, I I don't pretend to be able to really say, but I don't think that he should. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. And I hope that he can understand that. I don't want him to hate me if he God, I I don't want to cause problems, but neither do I want to let you deal with this alone. Unless you want to.
Thomas, whether you stay or go is your choice. I don't want to make you stay through all of this, and I don't. Ideally, I don't want to lose you, but I understand if it's. I understand.
Well, there's no need for that, Delphine. I want to stay. I want to help you. God, is what would my pops say if he knew that I walked away from a crying girl when she needed help?
I I didn't mean in that way. I'm always gonna need help one way or another. I have a crazy family.
I guess I guess that's something I can't really dispute you on, can I?
No. What I meant was, you know, in the way that happened before both of us left when I trusted Ferdinand with you.
That's what I meant too.
Oh, okay. I'm not so
I
good with this.
neither am I really, but that's all right. Again, everyone makes mistakes, and we're all still learning. Everything, really. I believe he'll forgive you eventually. Um,
Maybe with enough push from his brother. After all, Warren does know everything.
Oh, um,
Warren's
I,
like a big brother. I tell him a lot of stuff, okay?
I suppose I should likely go and speak with him,
Uh,
before he comes and speaks with me.
I don't know.
Something tells me that the Warren Shieldheart will find me first if he wants to.
I'll go talk to him. It's okay.
Let's go run off and find Warren, but let's do that later. Let's let Brian do something.
Why are you getting your bow? Warren does know every romantic secret. He's a part of one of them.
But yeah, no. Apparently now, Delphine and Thomas would like to speak to Warren. However, please, Brian hasn't gotten to do anything.
Yeah, we
Let
could do
Brian
that.
do something.
Warren, Delphine. And yeah, so yeah, I think you just officially broke up with William. Romance option locked. So Lynn, over the course of the conclusion of the campaign in Arcanon, I imagine you went back to check on the damages, and unfortunately, it seems that the Teague Manor is kind of fucked. It could be possibly rebuilt, but it will take a lot of resources. Some of the tunnels below have also been collapsed, as they were actually collapsed by some of your people to help get people out so that they weren't chased. Luckily, none of your people have sustained any actual major damage. Just a broken arm here and some bruises and cuts here, but luckily you're good. I rolled and no one got anything above like a 50. So
Excellent.
so your people are good. And so as you're kind of taking stock, probably like looking at the old Teague house with a heavy heart. You smell something coming as you get the distinct scent of a wolf log ooze approaching, not trying to mask their presence or anything. And as you look down the road, you see a lone wolf log ooze, one of the ones that you rescued, one of the younger warriors.
I turn to him.
And he makes it to the he makes it nearby, and he shifts back into a human form, and he speaks to you in the tongue of the wolf log ooze, which you don't understand, right?
Not a goddamn bit of it.
And so he starts speaking to you in that tongue.
I have no idea what you're saying.
An eyebrow raises, and then he rolls his eyes and crosses his arms, and he's like, "Are you serious?"
I am deadly serious. I don't know what language that was.
He sighs, and the humans really have gone, haven't they?
That's what happens when you're sent away. To humans. Gestures all around him.
And he, ignoring your sass, the elder wishes to speak with you. He's hence returned with some of the other warriors to the city on the coast. I don't know its name in the human, but it sounds like hurt.
He smiles. Doesn't correct him or anything.
All hurt, perhaps. A human name for city baffled.
Who, can you clarify who the elder is for me?
your grandfather.
Ah, him. Him at Allheart, huh? Allhurt.
Something like that. Are you mocking me?
Are you, Yeah, never mind.
Be lucky you're the chieftain's grandson. Or I would put you in your place, pup. He's like maybe a few years older than you. He's not even that much older than you, judging from the looks of him.
Yes, I'm quite sure you would. Would you like me to lead the way, or are you going somewhere else?
And he looks at you again, frustrated your indignance, and he says, I am aware of how to get back to where I need to go. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I guess enjoy your lonely walk then.
he just kind of rolls his eyes and he transforms and he bounds off in a different direction, taking care of some other business to do. Oh, and he says, echoing out, you were informed to bring those closest to you. Do not tarry. The elder and Wolfheart will not wait for long.
Hand waves while frowning.
And he turns and bounds off once again.
Do I even know where the fuck my people are?
What's up?
Do I even know where my people are?
Yeah, they're around. You'd be able to find them. But like, and you can bring if any PCs and or other NPCs qualify, feel free to bring whoever you want as well. That's up to you though.
I'll grab B if she's willing to go, and some of the
she'll
other
go.
people of my group who don't talk because, you know.
No, they're around. They talk, just not a lot on screen. Just because I haven't had a lot of chance to.
But yeah, I'll grab some of them and I'll
obviously
make my way over.
Yeah, obviously that he's talking about Dalhurst, like clearly.
Oh, absolutely.
He just doesn't understand. And so you head off after probably informing whoever you need to about what you were planning. Beatrice has probably started she probably headed back to your guys' old manor to assess the damages. There's a catapult stone that's just crashed through the living room that she's like fretting about, and your younger half sister and your younger brother are there safe after everything, and so they've kind of taken care of things and the rest of the staff is like starting to get everything back in order so you guys can safely go. And so you have like probably about a 2-3 day trip to Dalhurst. And if you're not like going super duper hard,
oh, absolutely not.
just like taking your time. And so after like you guys make sure that the people who need to know about things are informed of your whereabouts, you guys make your way to Dalhurst and see when you arrive. You see the city, and it is still being rebuilt. There's still much rubble and stuff, even after a few days of repairing, and you still see like the lingerings of the battle that had come. But in addition to the fleets that you had seen before, you do see some other peculiar vessels that you had not seen before. There's about 6 of them, and all of them are very, very big. They seem to have several very tall masts, and each of them have all of the sails, though they're furled up, you can even see from this distance, are all pastel colored. There's like a pastel pink one, a pastel like green and almost rainbowy colored one. They're definitely not Confederacy vessels. They definitely seem to be man-made, though they're not from Legala or from Zodia. As you get closer to the end, Beatrice like looks up and she snickers like, is that what the Confederates rode over on? And as you look a little bit closer, you know how many ships have like those figureheads at the front of the ships, right?
Yeah.
This one has the one in the front, the largest of these vessels that's docked up in Dalhurst, has perhaps the most photorealistic and anatomically correct naked woman with a fishtail that you've ever seen in your entire life. And it's almost uncanny the detail that was put into this wood that was carved into it. It's almost impressive, but also like a little weird.
Flashy.
I'd say. Where did they find this? Where did they find rides like this?
Well, let's find this supposed grandfather of mine and find out.
And before long, as you're meandering about, there are a lot of logus around these vessels. Hawk logus flying in the air, and feline and canine logus kind of walking about. And there are others that have started to congregate here from other that look like they're from Legala, natives that are like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go back, like hell yeah. And actually among them, you actually see your old friend from Emnet, who waves you down and smiles, glad to see that you have safely survived everything that's happened. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but you see him. But yeah, there's a number of individuals here, including all of the more non-combatant people that were staying with you before. You see them around. They would greet you as well. But before long, another warrior from the same tribe, judging from the tattoos that he has and paints. He approaches you, much younger. This one no older than 16 or so. Approaches you in a voice that still needs to drop completely. They've been waiting for you, he says.
They?
He nods. Come.
Okay. Turns to be, apparently they've been waiting.
So it seems. Well, it wouldn't be good to keep them waiting any longer, would it?
No, I guess it wouldn't be. Who's that?
And so he leads you onto the ship, and you see that despite the strange pleasure bard-esque kind of exterior that they have, the interior of them has been very Lagus and Togwellified. There's a lot of it's not very organized. The Confederate military is probably not the most organized thing in the world, and you pass a number of individuals that kind of give you sideways looks as you pass, and as you're led in, you're led into like a dining hall, and as you get in, about a quarter of the ones that you rescued, the ones that have the similar markings to your own, are there, including the elder who claims to be your grandfather, and they are currently speaking, and they seem to be judging from the bones from some sort of large roast animal that are strewn about the plates. Not all of the bones on the plates. You can assume that they have just finished up. They've just finished and are currently speaking again in the tongue that you do not recognize. And as you walk in, all of their ears flick up, and they all look in your direction. Hi, Beatrice waves like awkwardly from like the side of the door.
Do I see my grandfather?
Yes, he is sitting at the head of the table, quote unquote. Sort of. He's there, And his eyes kind of glisten for a second as you walk in, and he stands up. Oh, she's absolutely, but she's doing so discreetly. All right, God. And
Look straight at him. You summoned me?
not precisely, he says. Though I did wish to thank you for freeing me and my brothers.
Yeah. I wasn't the one that did that.
And yet you were present. You and the humans that you accompanied. Both of you were present. I don't care who broke the chains. Were you not all present? We may
Fair
still be in
enough.
captivity. He grins for a moment. Have you thought more about my request, boy?
Face blanks, completely unaware of request, because he probably put it to the back of his mind and then forgot about it. You made a request. Turns to be like hoping for a hint.
I'm imagining you probably didn't mention that exactly. She shrugs. Typical short attention spans. I asked if you had a desire to return to the land of your home.
Not to argue semantics at a point like this, but that was never particularly my home.
Don't be absurd. The blood of stone and sky runs through your veins, regardless of your upbringing. You would be
And while I would be interested in seeing where I was born, I have made promises to others already that I feel I need to keep before I go around for my own pleasure.
That is very, very true. And Elder Lin, you should know better than to try and poach someone who's been so important to freeing the individuals here in Legala. Another voice says, "Now come now. Won't you let the boy have a moment to rest after the war?" And as you look into the far hall, you hear where the voice is coming from, and the voice sounds familiar.
Like the person I helped then went to go help me afterwards.
And
Oh, wait.
walking down and ducking through the door is a face that you probably didn't expect to see. It's more scarred than the last time you saw it. And she's short one arm. And the clothing she wears is decidedly of the wolf tribe. But Catherine Winborn steps into the hall, and she looks at the two of you with a smile.
Relief, irritation, and anger.
Sorry, I got a bit distracted. Mom! And B is, fuck it, hugging Mom, and nearly tackles her, receiving her daughter with the one arm, as she kind of stumbles back a bit. And it's great to see the two of you. As you may have figured it out by now, They've taken to calling me Wolfheart for a number of reasons. And I suppose I have both of you to thank, along with all of your friends and fellows, for helping finish the work that I had started. Whether you
Far
meant
from
it or not.
finished.
I suppose finish is not the complete way of saying no. But had you not shown up when you did, your grandfather and the rest of the elders may have gotten taken back to ground. Goddess knows when we would have been able to find them again. I'm sorry I wasn't able to write or anything really these past years. At this point, yeah, it's been a couple years now. Where were you? Beatrice says. Away.
Running around saving people over there?
You could say that. You remember what your father said in his last missive to you, yes? Or in his last missive before I left.
I should.
Basically, that he suspected the wolf
Yeah.
tribes themselves to be a part of it.
Yeah, I remember it pretty vividly.
He was more right than you know. As it turns out, over the past 20 years, the former elders of the tribes conspired together to remove the generation prior. All of the men that you rescued, and the men that we've found since arriving here, those who will be returned to their homes, were taken by their own brothers and sisters in a power play, so that the greedy few might take control of their tribes.
Sounds familiar.
And Lim the Elder, arms crossed, says, "Indeed, I'm told that Jayestha was integral in uncovering the plot, and unfortunately did not survive the battles that came. I should not be surprised that my son died a warrior's death, even if he was a coward all the same. just like him to return just in time to get himself."
Pardon, coward?
Yes, coward. A long time ago, he left the tribes rather than leading them. He came back from time to time, visited other tribes, but he had no desire to step up and fulfill the destiny that was in his blood, the destiny that he was born to fulfill. But I owe him my life. But I owe him my life nonetheless. And when I pass, if I find that the earth has not taken him into its bosom, I will rip it apart until I can make room. And the other wolves nod, like in agreement.
Turns to Beatrice, and I thought Legolins were extra.
I guess it's, a cultural thing. She kind of shrugs, and your mother gets a look of bemusement on her face as she smiles. Your father gave his life along with many others in bringing the other elders to justice. The first part of what we had to do, the other being to return the elders back to their homes, so that true successors might be chosen.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. Though I suppose we owe the rest of the Confederacy and that peculiar man from the pleasure resort for aiding all of the Confederacy in returning its people back to their home.
Well, it's good to know some good has been done.
Which brings me to what happens from here. Lynn, Beatrice, I have work that I need to do still. I can't leave until I ensure that all of everything that I set out to accomplish is done. Especially now that GS is here to make sure that it gets done for me. But I plan on returning. In time. I know, I've been a terrible mother. But there's something that I need to talk to the both of you about. Lynn. My husband, before he passed. Douglas and I spoke at length, and I was not able to communicate this, unfortunately, and it was not decided. I did not know if it was wise at the time, but before all of this happened, Douglas intended to, if you desired, he intended to fully legitimize you as his son and his heir, if you wished to do such a thing.
Raises an eyebrow.
Though he knew that you were my son from another man. He truly did love you as much as any of his true children. And after seeing all of the work that you did, all of the good that you've done for countless people, he was the one that brought it up. Beatrice, I know that as the eldest, and she shakes her head and says, I wasn't planning on keeping it to begin with. There are other things that I can help with, and leading a house isn't exactly one of them. Not this one.
Well, this is awkward.
If you wish, it is still within my power to ensure that you are legitimized as the heir of House Windborn. But I understand if you do. You have every right to be mad. For me to come sailing back in this, of all things. Honestly, I'm surprised that you didn't strike me where I stood.
Considered.
It's wise
But
that
then-
you didn't whelp, your grandfather says. Please.
Glances at him. Yeah, I know. My sister would have kicked my ass.
And Beatrice, like peeking up from behind you, just gives him a wink. All of this said, boy, my offer still stands.
So many offers right now.
And Beatrice kind of elbows you in the rib cage.
Like
Who would have
off.
known you'd be so popular?
Unfortunately, and while I'm honored for all of this, and I would love to be fully legitimized by father, the business I said that I had to leave and take care of requires me to, well, leave to who the hell knows where. I
Would you?
promised to
I
send
imagine you
somebody
probably
home.
would have. I imagine you probably would have already mentioned this to Beatrice at some point.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it would have probably been discussed with her.
Yeah, because like not just dropping this on her right now. Yeah, so that's fair. Yeah. Are you sure, Lynn? I'm sure we could find somebody else trustworthy to bring them out. I'm sure that we could find a home. If we could find Shinara's home. Besides, are you really sure that you want to sail off for what could be a year, an odyssey that could take years? You,
Oh.
of all people?
God, no, I'm not. But I gave her my word that I would send her home, and I won't be satisfied until I know it's done.
And Lynn the Elder nods, considering your words for a moment, and he says, "A noble pursuit. One that I cannot in good faith hold qualms against."
After all is said and done, I would love to come back and, well, gestures to his grandfather, help you. Then he looks to his mother. Unfortunately, I never was much of a leader. More of a secretary. I'm sure Freda? I remember these names.
Frida was your younger sister,
Yeah.
and then Augustus was the young boy.
If B doesn't want to lead the family, then I'm sure Frida or Augustus, when he's older, would make great leaders.
And she nods. I see.
I do truly appreciate the offer, and he goes up and he hugs his mother.
And she'll give you a hug, and I'm sorry that this happened the way it had to. I hope you can forgive me through all of this.
You don't need to hope. I forgive you. I quite honestly had a feeling you were alive the whole time. Most of this family is too stubborn to die.
Ain't that the truth? And she gets a distant look on her face. Likely about the two men that she loved that are dead now.
Kiss of death.
Yeah. And she sighs. We likely still have many weeks and potentially even months before we return, or before I return back across the ocean for a time.
And I'll have to secure a ship and crew and some form of heading for where I'm going, which hopefully doesn't take too long.
I still have some contacts here that I may be able to use. Perhaps I can help you out.
Oh,
The least I
please,
can do.
'cause unfortunately, when you died, air quotes, you took most of your contacts with you.
Regrettable, unfortunately. But we'll see which of them survived the war.
Yeah.
And she kind of like wraps her arm in around her mother's, and she says, "Aren't you forgetting something else first, Mother?" And Catherine looks for a second, like genuinely like puzzled, thinking. And Beatrice kind of just flicks her in the forehead. "You have another son and daughter that you need to go and see." Oh, yes. I suppose that should come before business then. And Beatrice rolls her eyes.
Did you forget about your family?
It wasn't that I forgot about them. And Beatrice says, "It's just that she's putting her work before everything else." Who does that sound like? She says, wrapping her other arm around you.
Excuse you.
I know how you get when you. I know how you can get when you get on a trail. Don't you excuse me.
Did you just make a wolf joke?
And there's a twinkle in her eye as she giggles, and she looks to your grandfather and says, "Respectfully, Elder Lynn, sir, I'm going to have to steal your grandson and Lady and Miss Wolfheart over here for just a little bit. You won't mind, yes?" And he laughs and like with a toothy grin says, If you are anything like your dame, I imagine that I would be unable to prevent you from doing so." And he smirks, and the other wolf warriors laugh, and he waves with a hand. And she looks at the two of you and says, "Without further ado, let's get back home for a nice dinner with all of our family, yeah? For all that's left, at least." "You too," she says, pointing to the two jackals that are probably like lingering by the door, like, "Are we allowed to come in?" And the answer is yes. And Beatrice low-key drags the two of you guys with her, though you could both separately stop her from dragging you. You and your mother share a look, and she smiles to you, and dinner sounds nice. It's been a while since I've had actual Legolan cuisine or eaten with silverware.
Oh, she didn't tell you. We don't do that anymore.
Pardon?
Sticks his tongue out.
Yes. I suppose it may take me some time to reacclimate to humor. Your father's clan is notoriously humorless.
Great.
And with that, the group of you departs and heads back to your old childhood home. And
still standing.
There is still some. There's some repairs, which I imagine your mother is very much like, "Ooh, goodness." But luckily, repairs have already begun in earnest. I imagine Voludo is making sure to get the cheapest of repairs possible, because I'm pretty sure that all of the people who did not come with you have just went to the Windborn Manor instead. And so you likely got back to find your like 10-year-old younger brother strung up to the chandelier. But you know, but yeah, though battered and broken, not beyond repair, as the Windborn Manor begins to be fixed, and finally, after perhaps maybe worrying that you might never be able to again, you have a nice dinner with your mother and with the family that you've built.
Yay!
And I of course imagine this involves you introducing your mom to any of the newcomers and all of that. As how many of them are new since she left, or since she
I think
died?
just the 3 wolf people?
Yeah, the 3 wolves, and then Shinara herself. And so I imagine initially distrusting of someone who's been working so close to the wolf tribes, but she ends up really getting off on a good paw, if you will, with your mother.
Oh, and the tiger.
Oh, the tiger too, which he's doing good. He's starting to learn more how to write through all of this, and he was able to do a lot of helping through, because I think he was actually back in Dalhurst, so he probably went back with you guys. He was able to help a lot of the injured and such. He was invaluable towards helping dig people out of the rubble and such. So,
All right.
and how frequently did you bring your younger brother and younger sister to the Teague Manor? Like, did they ever meet everybody?
Probably the younger brother not being his not even a teenager yet.
That's fair.
The sister maybe a couple times to
Yeah.
help heal because
Yeah, she
You know,
has
she's better at it.
begun in earnest to do some of that. And so finally after some time and some getting used to, they acclimate to talking with to everybody and are obviously overjoyed and have a tearful reunion with the mother. And yeah, it's nice. Your mom doesn't have long before she'll have to leave again for a time, but
I don't even know if I'll see her again.
yeah, hopefully, but maybe not. But you'll be able to see her off with the rest of the Lagus when they leave also. Because there'll be a all right, everybody's starting to leave, and then everybody gets to see you off as you build up your grand adventure. And yeah. But yeah, Mom is back. Down an arm. So, and by the way, she absolutely like went into the kitchen as if to start trying to cook, and Beatrice had to drag her back out. Like, you have one arm and probably forgot how to cook. Get out of there.
Oh yeah, I'll give her ring back to her.
Oh yeah. I had thought that I lost this.
Well, I mean, you did.
Well, permanently.
Well,
And
almost.
she would be able to probably goes into some of the stories about how she got some of the scars and lost her arm. Probably not exactly the most appropriate conversations to have over dinner time. It seems that your mother's lost some of her manners from spending so much time with the wolf tribes, and she's like having to remind herself, and is accidentally used turns of phrase that the wolf tribes use. But she like catches herself, and Beatrice probably like gives her a couple looks like, "Mother, please stop talking about gore in front of like during dinner time. I'm trying to eat." Right. Sorry.
And then we share stories.
Yes, and pretty good. Her arm was literally ripped off by one of the rival false elders that usurped the former elders. It was pretty cool. She killed a guy. It's pretty badass. Lots of yeah, like kind of nonchalantly talks about like kind of the secret war that's happened in the wolf tribes for a while, because they've been really quiet lately, and that's why. So. But yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, if you have any other questions about any of that, feel free to ask me over the course of whenever, and I can answer.
Oh yeah, don't forget to try to dismantle the breeding farms around here.
Oh yeah, that's she's already planning on telling what information she has to some of her contacts, and that will hopefully be able to get to really start cracking down on that, and likely your people. That, or like what's left of your organization here, plus whoever is going to be taking over for that, is going to make sure they're going to have as much information as they need to break up as much of that shit as they can.
Good
with
shit.
gusto. And after talking about a lot of violence and stuff, she's probably like, but tell me, what have all of you been up to? Well. And of course, then you guys get to share all of your ridiculous stories. But yeah, it after so long hiding and fighting, it's refreshing to have a nice meal with family.
Family.
And with that, would you like to let's see, what would you like to do next? I have a few more things with Delphine. One of them will probably wait a little bit because you'll probably have some more time to. Yeah, honestly, those ones can probably wait for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm good for now. I've
you're
done
gonna
a
have
lot
to.
of things.
Yeah,
Let
because
other
you're gonna have to
people go,
talk
please.
to. You're gonna have to talk to Varro, and you have to talk to Misty, and then of course there's the Warren thing with Thomas, which is also fun.
Yeah, let some other people go. I've done enough.
Do you want me to do the loom, Brent?
Yes, do the loom.
Are you asking if I want to do magical experimenting?
I know that was a kind of a ridiculous question. And with the rate we're going at here, we're going to probably have plenty of time to make sure that we get anything that people want to do in the time before all of this wraps up. So, Connor, after things calm down a little bit, Hiei and the others from Fenongu, Hiei and Wu and all of them have probably started to get their things together. They're not leaving yet, but and you. As promised, Hiei gives you the opportunity to, probably while being watched, to make sure that it doesn't do anything ridiculous. While it's being watched, to have supervised time examining this loom. And whoever else you wish to be there, of course, would be able to do so.
Does anyone actually wanna?
I mean, can the two people that had shit taken from the loom be
Yeah, I
there?
assume you both are there. Since I'm
kinda
trolling.
curious.
Since I'm trolling through your memories.
Yeah.
I'm also
I
kinda
do need-
curious
Oh
'cause
god
more
damn
stuff.
it.
I also need Piper and Alstramari there anyway.
I thought this was gone.
Nope. One more time.
Fucking Christ.
Encore.
Louder for the people in the back!
No!
By the way, there is going to be a when the next time you check Gleipnir, by the way, in the entries where you communicate with him, he is going to have said something, which I'm going to be posting after all of this. That conversation will happen. We'll do that on the forums. It's time to talk to a book again. You'll be able to do that.
Alright.
He has an answer for you to the question that you asked him before the final battle. Namely about, hey, do you want a body?
Yeah, I figured he would have an answer, yeah.
Yeah, he's got one. So you'll get that off screen. It's a yes, by the way.
Wow, I'm so surprised.
I know. And so you enter the chamber that this loom is being kept under a watchful eye. And this large loom, it's the wood is black instead of like a normal kind of color that it would normally be with blood red thread still dripping with it, kind of.
Huh.
But not actually wet, but it almost seems to be dripping with energy.
I don't know why I didn't think it would be this creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. Also, like, kind of impressive, but also a little creepy.
Pretty creepy.
Just,
Your
like,
eyes
looking
don't
at-
hurt from looking at it anymore, Rinzu.
I still feel like I feel phantom, like,
Probably.
threads, though.
Alstramari, you checked them over to make sure that there isn't an influence anymore, correct?
She nods. They're probably just like kind of staring at the loom. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, well, then I guess there's nothing to do with start. And I'm gonna sit at the loom.
And can I first have you make a knowledge lore check against 4 difficulty?
Heh, lore.
You know, that's fitting.
Wow.
As you take a cursory look at this, the first thing that you notice is that it is decidedly different. But there are certain similarities between the crafting of this and elements of some of the things that you saw inside of Arkham. It's decidedly man-made, and there's a lot more to it than that. But staring at the loom, you can't help but think back to those stony vine-like tendrils that Alstramari interfaced with to control the descent of Arcanon, and that Arlen himself was. You can't help but draw a parallel, even though they are decidedly different.
I guess I'll like vocally note that.
Shudders.
All right, and then I'm gonna interact with it, I guess.
Yeah, and so you take a look at it, and as you start like taking a look at it, you begin kind of spinning some of the threads in it, and you kind of very quickly can get a hang of how it works. It's actually kind of quite easy to use, and almost kind of comes intrinsically to it. And even though you've never actually used a regular loom before, you figure out rather quickly like how this works, almost intuitively. Which, if that's how it was with Liao, chances are that's how she was able to.
Well, it's no wonder she's able to figure it out. It almost seems to want you to use it.
That's unsettling.
Oh, that just reminded Rinzu of that time that I was in the room with Liao, or like in there by myself with it.
Yeah, it was kind of, hey Rinzu, come play with me.
I guess like I'm gonna look at what's been made, or if there's anything that's been made, like how.
It looks like rather than actually spinning into devices and such, like, or into like actual like clothing and such like that, it almost seems to like it wants to try and connect to things. Like the way that you are able to spin it, and kind of you're almost able to control it, and stuff like that. And effectively, what it seems like is that somebody can basically set themselves as the user of this loom and control the threads while in close proximity. That does require them to kind of pretty much sew themselves into the loom as well, to a degree. Though they can also remove themselves because they're in control of it.
So is Liao still users then?
No. When she died, that all went back and basically unspun itself.
Ugh. Am I gonna have to like insert myself into this loom? That's weird. Or vice versa, or both. I don't know.
You kind of know how one would do it. There's a needle.
Fucking blood. Well, I guess I'm jabbing my finger with a needle.
And so as you prick your finger and drip a single drop of blood on the strands, it kind of almost thrums for a second and kind of extends through the thread. And you feel yourself kind of connect to it. And as you look down to your finger, where you pricked it, there's a thread, a single red thread that kind of has entered in and then leaves out of the thumb that you pricked in the spot where you pricked. And
You know, I've never been a big fan of blood magic.
it definitely is. It definitely seems like there's some blood magic with this, obviously. But from this point, effectively what you can do is you can attempt to interface with things. And you kind of get the idea that that's what Liao did. She interfaced with this and used its threads to weave other things into the tapestry that she was creating.
Is there anything in it now? Like, could I try and attempt to find lost memories or something?
It doesn't look like it.
That's what I kind of figured.
Make another knowledge lore check now that you're hooked up to it. Make it against 3 this time, but upgrade it once if you could. As you take a closer look, like now that you're kind of interfaced with this, the tapestry, quote unquote, that it makes is not a physical one, and it's not kept in. It's not really kept in the loom either. It seems to be almost as if it's woven into the user. But as you take a closer look, judging from the description of what happened when Liao died, you have a feeling that because of the circumstances of her death and how traumatic it was, effectively that tapestry unwound itself and basically frayed and unraveled when she died. Because she had gone so far, the tapestry ripped. And it's not the kind of thing that you can repair. Had she disconnected herself from the loom properly, it perhaps would have been more together. And though these kind of abstract thoughts are coming to your mind almost unbidden as you're kind of studying this and thinking about it, the difference between someone's lore and a tapestry woven on their soul don't seem to be that different. One is just men using this loom and whatever it does, and pulling thread from the things that it interfaces with.
Alsha, you did tell me that you have a family curse thing, right?
Yes.
Jinzu,
Yes.
your memories, the ones that you lost, aren't in this. They would have been in Liao. If I try to connect to someone, could I see if like they're damaged? I guess.
Possibly, yeah. It makes sense to you. You could definitely try. And from what you can tell, there's no lingering damage if you do weave somebody into it because you can control it. And so unless you actively try and tear something away,
Well,
and doing so is not easy, it seems.
Although I have an idea, but it might be unpleasant. Oh, I actually said that.
Just going to give him a go on look.
I'm gonna do the like come here finger.
Connor, what if I told you about your terrible bedside manner?
This isn't a bed.
She just looks at you and blinks. Piper's here too, right?
Yeah, I think Piper actually might snicker at that. That was actually kind of funny.
Isn't Sarah here too?
I think so, yeah. He's just kind of quiet. Hi, strange people I don't know. What's up? He's just like standing next to Rinzu.
What is your idea, Connor?
Well, I'm gonna connect and see if I can repair the damage.
She's just gonna take a good deep breath and step forward. Then
Literally the second she's in range.
And yeah, she was in range from where she was standing. The range for this thing is
Oh.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
It was enough to be all over the manor, and functionally it's probably about a quarter of a mile from the loom.
Jesus
Probably the accurate
Christ!
yeah, is how much you can know. Because I mean, she had it on the boat, and she could use it anywhere on the boat. She had it in the cart, and she could use it anywhere around the cart. And she had it in the manor and could use it anywhere around the manor. So
Does she actually have magic, or is she just using the loom? At the
she
front?
did have magic. Yeah,
Okay.
she was. Alstra would be able to confirm that she was able to use magic. She was naturally gifted and never had any formal training. She learned all of her magic from black market sources, where people would basically steal forbidden magic scrolls, and she paid them for them. But yeah, and so you gently weave some of the thread back around her, and for a second you have a moment, but
I'm not
it doesn't.
I know.
I'm assuming you're actively also trying to be more gentle.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt her in the slightest.
Can you make a magic check against a dark magic check against 3 difficulty?
I will make sure your best friend never knows about this.
He trusts him. If you're willing, oh geez. Yeah, no. So as it very tenderly wraps around you, and instead of a choker, it's more like it's comfortable. It doesn't hurt as it kind of starts to interface with you. And Connor, as you kind of close your eyes and extend your senses through the loom, you kind of can see the tapestry that makes up Rinzu, and you can see the threads that have been ripped out and torn from it, rather aggressively, as it turns out. But those ones, you would not be able to repair unless you had something to repair it with. And that might be hard.
When you say something to repair it with, like,
Namely, because you don't have those memories any longer, it would be very hard to replace them. Effectively, looking from this, you can kind of especially because that triumph, this is different from lore in subtle ways. What it's messing with is still technically lore, but the way that this removes it leaves a very distinct kind of pattern to it, almost like a calling card, you could say. In the way that it manipulates this and allows you to kind of see and witness this. Because you don't have the original threads, if you will, that made up this tapestry, you will not be able to repair the parts that have been removed completely. But as you take a look, you do see a couple of these things that appear to be damaged, but not broken.
so could I restore those?
You could. Can I have you make another magic check? This one is going to be against 3 red. But get 2 boost dice and upgrade your check once. You're in a good way, your ability with that try.
Ugh. Can I use like my dark magic talents?
Unfortunately, no, because you can't downgrade that, or you can't reduce the difficulty because there are no purple dice to reduce.
Okay.
But I will let you upgrade again with a story point that probably exists, and I'm not going to upgrade it again. So you go ahead and take one
Cool.
because this is kind of a big.
Oh my
Oh.
god!
Wow. Okay, hang on.
What was it?
double
7
triumph.
successes, 2 triumphs, and an advantage.
Holy shit.
Um. So Brent,
Yeah.
I need you to pick 2 numbers for me between 1 and 10.
Let's do 3 and 7.
And Rinzu, as you kind of close your eyes, you almost feel like kind of a tickling almost like inside of your mind for a second. And you try not to think about it for a second. But then, Connor, as you kind of focus, you kind of absently weave repairing a couple of the things that are there. And Rinzu, there's suddenly there's like there's like an epiphany that you have. You know, like when there's something on the tip of your tongue, and then you remember it. That feeling happens to you, like that. Boom, all in one single second. And in a flush, you remembered it sometimes was hard for you to remember how much you wanted to travel, how much you wanted to see the world, how much you wanted to see the world with Westland. And suddenly that wanderlust comes flashing and slamming into you like a tidal wave. And all of the steps that you had forgotten, the more challenging of your dances, the more complex of your steps that you had slowly been reteaching yourself, all of those steps that you had forgotten before, they all come crashing back. And almost like in a wave of nostalgia, all those memories you had of sneaking out into the courtyard with Westland and looking up at the stars, wondering if someone else was looking at them back somewhere else across the globe, and how much you cared and loved looking at all of those constellations. That comes back too. And last but not least, a face comes unbidden back to your mind. The kind, beautiful, raven hair, the understanding voice, the kind laugh, the coughs. As all of those memories that you had of the former Lady Blackwild come spilling out from where they had been damaged. Where you thought they had been lost. And Connor, as you open your eyes, whether or not she means it, tears are streaming down Rinzu's face.
I didn't think I'd ever get them back.
There were some that were only damaged. I just kind of repaired them.
There are a few things that are still lost. But with that double triumph, some of the ones that were lost permanently were unlost permanently. Color me impressed, Sarat says.
Yeah, Ellie barely knew what I was doing.
Connor? Anyway, it's good to hear some good news.
Did she take anything from you, Sarah?
He nods, but nothing important. I didn't have much to write, but thanks for the offer.
Then there's you two. His eyes move from Piper to Alstromeria.
You think it can some way interact with the curse?
If it's woven into your lore,
Interesting way to go about it.
it seems like a neater solution, at least.
Well, hang on a second. Where is it going to go, though?
Connor just kind of shrugs.
I don't think it's a thing to try willy-nilly, at least. In any case, well, at least it's worth trying. Or looking, at least. But do say something if you're going to try something, Connor.
I don't plan to manipulate anyone's lore without telling them first.
Okay?
All right. If you think it's going to be safe, but I don't want you getting hurt either, Connor.
Don't you have potential future children to think about?
I mean, I hardly think that's. I mean, I turned out all right.
You
Right?
turned out better than the rest of us, so I would say yeah. She pats Piper on the back.
I mean, curse aside, I don't want you risking yourself for this or anything.
He just kind of shrugs again.
I'll keep an eye on things. And Elster does take out the blue stone and starts to channel it to see the lights.
And yeah, you see the almost like streamer-like lights hovering through the air. The two of yours intermingling between each other.
I'll tell you if something changes.
And so Connor, as you begin to interface with the two of them, I need you to make a. This one's going to be against 2 red and 1 purple.
Well, I'd probably actually try this one at a time.
Fair enough.
can.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also,
so yeah,
I am gonna like remove all the influence out of Rinzu that I have.
of course,
Sorry.
yeah, of course. No, give Rinzu. No, I'm just kidding.
Rinzu's
Yeah,
my
no.
puppet now.
My God.
And then suddenly you just boom go.
I just take over this entire room.
You already used me as a puppet once.
How's your resilience check?
Not very good.
In which Sarah just bites you. All right, sorry guys, had to kill your brother. But
You
no.
went out of power like immediately. It was weird.
So who are you gonna do first?
Alstramaria.
All right.
I would probably
She's a big
actually
thing.
recommend Piper first because she doesn't have as much weird stuff.
You know that's fair, actually.
Like, I have an entire god in me, and so it might be better to try with the human first.
Fair enough.
Hello, I'm human. So yeah, go ahead and make it. It's gonna be against 2 red and 1 purple.
It's a magic check or
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And this you could reduce the difficulty of.
Hey, I'll do that. Neat.
Okay. So as you take a look into her tapestry, it's those well, you see it. It's woven kind of into the very fabric of it, and you're pretty sure that you'd be able to remove it all, because it is separate, even though it's interwoven in it. But you also know that with that triumph, you definitely know with 100% certainty that you would not be able to destroy this curse. There would be no releasing it. There'd be no destroying it. The only thing that you could do is transfer it to yourself.
But could I transfer it from myself into, I don't know, like an object?
That would be almost impossible. Unless an object used the loom to pull it from you into itself. Which an object would not really be able to do. Objects don't have blood.
Blood magic.
Well, I can do it.
Really? This is weird.
I do have permission from Gleipnir before this, though, right?
I mean, if you want to do it, you can. It's very much if you want to do something like that, but know full well what that could mean to you. If this curse is as virulent as it sounds.
Well, I meant like I have Gleipnir's permission to make him a body.
Oh yes, that's yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, there's just one other thing I need to do first.
And she like, what is it?
He opens his mouth a few times looking for words. I have a promise to fulfill, I guess, is the best way to word this.
Why would you need a promise to fulfill a promise before doing this, Connor?
And I'm just gonna pull out Gleipnir and kind of set it on the ground nearby.
And are you gonna try and do something with it first?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'd be able to do so. So are you gonna try and what are you trying to do exactly with this one?
Basically, I guess I'm essentially taking a part of myself and using Gleipnir to fill the gaps until it's like its own entity.
Okay. Go ahead and okay. So you're able to interface with Gleipnir too, interestingly enough, because it's a magical focus. And as you do, it's dark and shadowy and very alien in comparison to a person. But you do see kind of not necessarily a tapestry, but like a similar sort of work around here. And in it, you do see what you assume, judging from the way that you're looking at this, what is probably the limitations that were placed by Dristan, making it so that Gleipnir cannot be opened by anyone except for you, and even you to specific things.
I kind of want to remove that limitation first.
And you very well could.
That like what's in there might be really useful.
As far as trying to create a body for it, with what you have right now, with how the loom works, because the loom is only really able to take things away, you aren't really sure what you could do beyond take Gleipnir and put it into yourself. Like if you were to take the entity that is Gleipnir, like what's left of Dristan inside of it. It could help, but it wouldn't be able to make a body completely.
Okay, that's fair.
Not by that manner. But it could be one thing that could potentially help you.
I guess if I remove that limitation of Gleipnir, do I have to operate by that limitation myself then?
See, that's the thing. You're not a book. So how that limitation would manifest with you, you're not exactly sure. Because effectively the limitation on Gleipnir is that the only people who can wield it are one person chosen by it randomly. And also that parts of its information are effectively locked off. Right? But that's how that would manifest into a person is hard to say.
Well, I'm sure somebody else could fix me, so let's just try this.
Go ahead and make one against 3 red this time because it's a little complicated.
Can I have anything for being incredibly familiar with it at this point?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 boost dice. One for blood relation and another for crazy fucking ideas.
And we have no idea what he's doing right in front of us.
Yeah.
Huh, I wonder if he's okay. I wonder if he's...
I mean, technically the odds are in my favor. I'm going to use one of these points.
That's fair.
This is going to hurt.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. That's very interesting.
What'd you roll?
4 successes and a despair.
Hmm. You know, if I have to explain what happened to you to Warren, I'm going to be very upset with you. But I'll do it.
Okay, hang on.
I-
I gotta think about what this means for a second. This is a lot.
I'm just saying, I have a time ball, and if the results like immediately seem bad, I'm gonna redo this.
You should re-roll it.
Okay.
Yeah, you should definitely re-roll it because the idea that comes to mind immediately, you're not gonna like at all.
That rip out half of the knowledge, or whatever.
What's up?
That would essentially like lose parts of Gleipnir.
Yeah, you wouldn't like the result that would probably be. So I'll tell you what it is afterwards. But you should use the time ball.
Wow!
Oh dear. What the fuck? This time he failed with 7 advantages, a triumph, and a despair.
Holy shit! Not enough. Fuck this.
Oh jeez.
Jesus.
So, Okay, I want you to roll one more time for me.
Okay.
And what you roll here is going to determine a couple of things.
All right. Same exact roll.
Yes.
My God.
Success and 2 triumphs.
This is so fucking swingy.
Hey, Brett, remember you told me that point in time when I told you I was worried about you making these checks, and you were like, "Nah, I guess."
The RP dice have spoken. And what they're saying is they can't make up their fucking minds.
All right, I got it. I figured it out, fam. All right, so Connor, as you begin to look into this, you latch on to where these limitation curses are, and you banish them and draw them into yourself. And as you wince, as you do it, you feel a little bit more coming with it than you anticipated.
Oh.
And you kind of reel back a little bit. And as you do, you look down, and the first thing that you notice is that the vision in your missing eye is gone again. No longer do you have the cool Gleipnir vision that you had before.
Oh.
But as you take up the tome and you flip through the pages, none of them are blocked off. But there's something else strange about it. Something else that's different.
Good, Eric. What's different?
I assume that you're going to try and experiment with it a little bit.
Yep.
As you try and reach within the book to cast a spell, you slam into a wall. and the feedback pushes you back out before you can tap into the magical focus.
All right.
But as you then open it and you write a couple of things in it, and you wait for a response, there's nothing. None of the writing that is in it currently disappears. And the book itself is still magical. It's still a focus, but you can't reach it.
Did I just accidentally kill my own magic?
No, you can still use magic. You can sense that your dark magic is still working. Your light magic is still working. But that limiter, that limiter that was preventing anybody but you from using it has been removed. And for whatever reason, the way that it's manifested now that you've taken it into your body is that now you can't use Gleipnir as a magical focus. But Alstro, as you take a look at it with like your Loro vision, and as you plumb back into it with the loom, nothing else seems to be changed. The limitations are gone. And it seems like Gleipnir can't communicate again anymore. But there's still a very powerful energy inside of the book. And you can still read it. Like the pages themselves no longer limit themselves. You can talk about it freely. And
But
anybody
you
else can use the book. Anybody who can use dark magic can use the book. But you can't. But if he's still in there, he can't talk.
And would Connor explain what he did?
Very rapidly, very much angry and sad.
It appears he's still in there. Though
Then I imprisoned him in his own fucking book.
he was already imprisoned.
He can't reach out at all now.
Well, if it's something that can be done, it can be undone. You made it easier to interact with the book, at least. Not the way before, but we can figure something out, Connor.
He takes a deep breath, and I made him a promise.
I know. And she puts a hand on your shoulder.
It's all right. I mean, you guys have been able to do everything, yeah? If anyone can figure it out, I think it'd be you. And if there's anything I can help with, I'd like to.
You've done something that even Ashlyn couldn't do, Connor.
Yeah, what'll be the consequences of it?
Yes, nothing really else that Alistair can really say at this point.
I guess the one other question is, are you still going to go through with taking that curse?
Not right now.
That's fair.
He's gonna grab Gleipnir and basically hug it close to his chest and I need some time and kind of leave.
I hope he's all right.
Me too.
And the last thing that we'll do today, I assume that you're going to go and scour the book for anything you can find, yeah?
Literally anything I can find I fix this with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you find something. You find something right near the end. That one section right before the final entries. The one that you wanted to access. The one that he wanted to access. That he thought might have something. The entry labeled Quintessence in Life. I've met an impasse, one that I know not how to cross. By all rights, my experiment was a success. By exercising the theoretical knowledge I've compiled from Ashling's incomplete teachings, I have done it. My son lives. The last gift given to me by she who I had thought untouchable, before her charlatan of an elder sister robbed me of both of them. Connell lives and breathes once more. But something is not right. My research was flawless. Quintessence, the purest manifestation of my magic, interfused with the uncontrollable primal first magic, wielded by Ashling with such abandon. My technique was without error. So what am I missing? I have bled and sweat over this for what seems like 1,000 days and 1,000 nights, and yet my son is alive, but he does not live. The child does not cry. He does not eat. He does not respond to even the most simple of stimuli. And I fear he will starve himself soon. I do not know what to do. I do not want to watch him die again. All of the pieces were in place. Using the summoning magic I've perfected, I conjured a false host to act as a medium, a temporary but durable vessel to contain the essence, the lore that was left over from my Connell. But it was not enough, I know. My beloved Maeve did not have enough life to give him. And so I endeavored to fill the vessel with essence enough, as it were. My nephew's life, too, was cut short by the machinations of Ashling. My fool of a brother surrendered all hopes for his son. But I will not give up on him so. But still, it was not quite enough. I siphoned a portion of my own lore into the vessel to fill it. It was enough. I believed it was enough, but the rest of the steps, they were flawless. The vessel, the quintessence, was secure. From there, it was a simple matter to create a more permanent vessel for my son, one that would be reinforced enough not to rupture from the stress of the ritual. I conjured the frame with summoning magic and clothed the homunculus with the blood and flesh of an alicorn, enchantments more than powerful enough to withstand the transfer of the quintessence. And it was! Upon the grave of my family, in sight of mother and father, I granted my son the shell he deserved. And his eyes, they opened. They were Kiva's eyes, interestingly enough. A side effect of the combination of Connell with his cousin, no doubt. But though he lived, I am afraid. I do not want to lose him again, but I am running out of options. There must be an answer, something I have not tried, but only Ashling and her incandescent archons would have it, and I know they would not give it willingly. I am afraid. I did not believe I would ever wish this after his betrayal, but I truly wish my brother were here. Would that he were. Perhaps we could save my son. Our sons. Together. But these are the paths that we've taken. And I will not turn back. I cannot turn back. And that is where we'll end it for the day.
Damn.